Chapter 10. Applied Kinesiology and Muscle Testing. It is through science that we prove, but through intuition that we discover. Henry Poincare. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Albert Einstein. What if a tool existed that could be used to get a yes or no answer to any question that you asked about anything in the universe? What if this tool existed and it could be used to discover exactly why you had a specific health problem? Imagine finding out the real reason why you suffered from pounding headaches, lower back pain, low energy, depression, cancer, or even AIDS. Imagine the astounding implications this would have not only for you and your life, but for the world at large. Imagine getting to the root or truth of an issue quickly and easily. Imagine also that this tool could be used not only for present moment things, but also to ask about anything in the past. The questions would be endless and the implications mind-blowing. Questions could be answered about anything from physical issues to world events, political issues, determining innocence, guilt in court, or even spiritual questions. It would be amazing if a tool like this existed, wouldn't it? If we all use this tool to heal, the world would literally be revolutionized overnight. Well, a tool like this does exist, and it is used by tens of thousands of people in the world, mostly by alternative healthcare practitioners, as a way to get feedback from the body. It is called applied kinesiology, or AK for short, or muscle testing. In my personal experience, AK was used to discover the experiences and emotions that were contributing to my severe depression. Before you write this off as New Age, a hoax, or something that is simply impossible, please read further and keep an open mind. If thousands of well-trained, highly respected practitioners all over the world use this tool for many different purposes, it's worth finding out why they all utilize it. Moreover, with the advance of quantum theory, the cutting edge of science, a very logical and scientific basis exists that quantum mechanics can explain as to why this tool works. What is applied kinesiology? Kinesiology comes from two words, kinesis, which means movement, and ology, which means the study of. Therefore, kinesiology is the study of movement. Even more specifically, it is the study of the principles of mechanics and anatomy in relation to human movement. Applied kinesiology takes kinesiology and breaks off into something even more specific. AK involves using a muscle in the body that is tested in response to physical, energetic, mental, or emotional stimulus. In the presence of a stimulus, the muscle response when tested will either remain strong or go weak. A weak muscle response is indicative of something that does not support life. A strong muscle response corresponds with something that supports and benefits life. It's that simple. How to perform applied kinesiology. Applied kinesiology can be performed using any muscle of the body. Most of the time, the arm or the deltoid muscle is used and is extended parallel to the ground. While the subject is holding out his or her arm, the tester presses downward using 2 or 3 fingers just above the wrist with light pressure. The subject is asked to resist the downward pressure. If no stimulus is being tested, the arm will be able to hold or resist the pressure and remain locked into place while the pressure is being applied. When something that is tested is positive or life-supporting, the arm response will remain strong or locked. When something that is tested is negative or life-threatening, the arm response will go weak or unlock. AK testing is very simple to do, but it takes a lot of practice to feel the subtleties of the muscle response. If you use AK frequently over time, you will find that you apply less and less pressure when performing the test. Dr. John Thie uses the rule of twos and says that it is unnecessary to apply more than 2 pounds of pressure. Apply and release the pressure within 2 seconds. When learning AK, I used to put undue pressure on people's arms, and they walked out of the clinic having gotten a full arm workout. I quickly learned that this wasn't necessary. Movement of the arm more than 2 inches is also unnecessary. So in summary, you can use AK and perform the muscle test with 2 pounds, 2 inches, and 2 seconds. Here's a simple example of how AK can be used. In the clinic, I keep a packet of Splenda handy for testing someone for the first time. Splenda is a neurotoxin and is detrimental to life. The subject takes the Splenda and holds it in their hand or over their solar plexus. With the other arm, the muscle test is performed. When tested, the arm instantly goes weak, losing about 50% of its strength. This has been demonstrated with 250-pound football players. They too lose 50% of their strength, even when resisting with all of their might. The reason for this is due to the fact that Splenda is artificial and neurotoxic and does not support life, so no one should be using it. In contrast, one could use an organic apple to test someone, and the muscle response would be strong, as organic apples are supportive or benefit life. This is the most basic way to use applied kinesiology. As noted above, AK is not a test of strength, though. It is a response of energy to a stimulus. Dr. John Thies says, the muscle test offers us an immediate, subjective, though objectively observable, and personally meaningful measurement. It provides us access to powerful techniques for effecting change and reinforcing that change in the whole person, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We are not measuring the gross physical strength of the muscle, but we are monitoring the muscle response as an indicator of changes in energy. Remember, AK is a tool that is used to discover truth. That which is truthful supports life. That which is false does not support life. How does applied kinesiology work? The best explanation I've encountered to answer this question is found in the works of Dr. David Hawkins. The phenomena of AK can only be explained through quantum mechanics. He states, it is a replicable, experiential phenomena that is not explicable by ordinary logic or Newtonian physics. It is made comprehensible by the advanced physics of quantum mechanics, in which the intention of the observer or questioner does or does not facilitate a collapse of the wave function, or the von Neumann process 1. Thus, the state of the universe, Schrodinger equations, via the Heisenberg principle is often reduced or not, the Dirac process, and therefore the quantum response is limited to yes or not yes. There you have it, a perfectly logical explanation of AK. Wave function, the von Neumann process, Schrodinger equations, and the Heisenberg principle are a part of everyone's language, right? Okay, I'm joking. However, when asked about how it works, I normally fire a question back to people and say, do you really understand how your cell phone, microwave, or even your car works on a physics level? Most respond that they do not. Like me, they don't really care to know how a cell phone works. And what I do know is that it does work. AK is the same way for me, at least. When certain things are tested, a weak or strong muscle response is noted, in which the difference is easily observed. Quantum physics can explain how it works, but I know from years of clinical experience that it works very well in application. In fact, thousands of practitioners use it to extract unconscious information from their patients or clients, and that is what we are most concerned about. To further expound on what AK is, Dr. Hawkins states, the truth makes the body musculature go strong, and falsehood results in weakening with an empirical discovery. The phenomena is due to the fact that truth exists as an actual reality, whereas falsehood merely has no substrate of reality. Thus, the muscle testing response is either yes or not yes. The mechanisms are clarified by understanding basic principles of quantum physics, by which the Heisenberg uncertainty principle itself is the litmus paper. Phenomena are the consequence of the collapse of the wave state of potentiality to the particle state of manifestation and actuality. These are the result of intention and observation itself. The observer and the observed become an operational unit. Truth has actual existence and therefore collapses the wave function. Falsity has no reality, or it's non-existent, and thus fails to get a response, the arm weakness. Thus, like electricity, the wire is either on and carries current, which would be yes, or it is not on, which would be no. Applied kinesiology for muscle stimulus. AK can be used to identify and test emotional states, not only that are occurring in the present moment, but also ones that are in past memories. The tester may tell the subject to think about something they love and then immediately perform the muscle test. The response of the arm will be strong. Then the tester asks the subject to think of something they hate, and then immediately the test or the arm response goes weak. Love supports life. Hate or any negative emotion does not support life. With regards to emotional stimulus, Dr. John Diamond, MD, says, by testing the muscle, a procedure that takes no more than a minute, it is possible to access accurately and then to correct instantly the negative emotion attitudes affecting us at any given time. The test is a test of life energy. You will know the specific emotional attitudes affecting you at the moment and instantly overcome your negative emotional attitudes. For the first time, I discovered that it was possible for me to accurately and instantly find the precise emotional attitudes affecting myself or my patients, and in fact to pinpoint them for anyone, including my professional colleagues. It was the first time that I or anyone could learn his or her own conscious and unconscious attitudes accurately and instantly. Dr. John Diamond discovered that if someone was struggling with some kind of medical issue and this issue was being affected by an unconscious emotion or memory, the emotion could be identified and worked with in order for healing to occur. Out of this understanding, AK was used personally to identify the memories and emotions in those memories that needed to be released. It has been an invaluable tool for me. In the fantastic book called Kinesiology, which uses AK to explore our emotions, it is noted that muscle testing is reliable and accurate. In the hands of a well-trained practitioner, quite a bit of valuable information can be brought to the surface in such a way that the client goes through little, if any, emotional cathartic episodes. Later they go on to say, muscle testing is the key to unlocking the unconscious process quickly and effectively. With it, you can find out exactly what the unconscious is thinking and feeling about a thought, idea, or behavior. Applied kinesiology for questions and statements. Any question or statement can be posed to the subject about anything having to do with them or anything in the world. The reason AK works with regards to information in the universe is because we are all energetically connected to everything in the universe, much like every computer is connected to the internet. Think of the implication this tool has in the hands of integrous people who really want to know the truth. Through this understanding, Dr. David Hawkins instantly understood its cosmic importance. Never in the history of humanity have people had a tool to be able to instantly know truth from falsehood. All 10 of his books were based upon the information he discovered from the use of this tool. Kinesiology exposes truth or lack of it. In a clinical setting, we want to know what is true about the condition of the person in front of us, what is causing their ailment, and what their body wants to do about it in order to heal. These responses can be received from someone by using AK and a structure to know which questions to ask. It is very important to note that this is a test that should be used with integrity. If you are angry and want to prove if someone lied to you, the test will not work. AK is to be used for integrous means and without personal agenda. If you have an agenda or intention before testing, this will skew the test. Attention, rather than intention, is what must be used to perform this test. You must have no attachment to the result one way or the other. The use of the tool requires humility and adaptability, especially if actual truth doesn't line up with what we believe to be our truth. Clinically, a practitioner must empty themselves of agendas, intention, or predetermined thoughts. Less agenda and more clarity is more common with those of higher levels of consciousness. If not, they will not be at full attention to make sure that the information received from that person is accurate. A good applied kinesiologist is one who has no agenda, but is one who, in a health setting, is open to being attentive to whatever comes up. An example of this would be working on a family member whom you have known your whole life and always appears angry or grumpy. When making a statement such as, anger is the primary emotion that is affecting his or her emotional state, and then performing the muscle test, it may skew the result because you want the answer to be yes. It is best to be open to the truth itself. Perhaps the anger on the surface is being covered by a deep sadness over the loss of a spouse 10 years previous. The anger is fueled by the sadness. But if you think you know better than that person's own subconscious, you will not get an accurate answer. You need to be open to truth itself and not just your opinion. How to use applied kinesiology to help someone with depression. Any health problem has a primary or main category in which the problem exists. If someone comes in and they say they are depressed, the first set of statements I make and test in this process using AK is to determine on which level the bulk of the issue is in. It is great to know if the problem is primarily physical, energetic, mental or emotional, family emotional, or spiritual. Depending upon the muscle response, helping someone to find relief for their depression is approached very differently depending upon where the source of the problem is. To see how this would be done, consider the following example made with statements where AK is applied. After each statement, the AK test is immediately performed. Either a strong or weak response will occur after each statement is read aloud. Only one of those statements will test strong. The first statement is, the depression is primarily physical, test strong or weak. The depression is primarily energetic or electrical, test strong or weak. The depression is primarily a general emotional issue, test strong or weak. The depression is primarily a family emotional issue, test strong or weak. The depression is primarily a spiritual emotional issue, test strong or weak. The approach to healing physical depression is very different from healing from emotional depression. If the problem is physical, then a change in diet, nutrition, supplementation, exercise, detoxification, and things in the physical world should bring about very positive results. If depression is emotional in nature, that doesn't mean that the physical changes won't help. In fact, they often help quite a bit. However, to fully release the problem, the memories and associated emotions to the problem need to be released before complete relief can be found. My experiences with helping people and using AK were simply limited to the physical realm at first. I used a technique called nutrition response testing, or NRT. NRT is a physical testing framework that uses applied kinesiology and can be used to discover many things. NRT can be used to discover which toxins are causing problems in the body, where specifically they are causing those problems, which parts of the body are the weakest and need the most support, and what exact whole food supplements can be used to support toxin removal. NRT is a physical testing structure that uses AK as the tool to get feedback responses. Using this tool with someone who has a physical expression of depression is very powerful at identifying exactly what they need to start healing. It saves time, is very specific, and brings about healing very quickly. I began using this in practice and soon began to see many wonderful results with my patients. Let me give you an example of how the structure of NRT works. One of the things done in NRT is to determine what the weakest part of the body is. We have three categories: organs, endocrine glands, and body parts. Most of the time, an organ or an endocrine gland is found to be the weakest. NRT doesn't use a statement to determine this, but simply places a hand over that part of the body and performing AK. It is the intention that matters. Asking statements is quicker in my opinion, but it is fine to perform the test either way. Let's say you are testing to see if an endocrine gland is the weakest part of the body. You could either hold a hand over each gland or say the name of each one and perform the test. So you go through the list. Pineal, test strong. Pituitary, test strong. Thyroid, weak. Thymus, strong. Pancreas, strong. Adrenals, strong. Testes or ovaries, strong. In this case, all of the endocrine glands tested strong except for the thyroid. Therefore, we know that we would need to support the thyroid with whole food supplements to be able to heal this part of the body. We also can test to see if a heavy metal, heavy chemical, food, pathogen, or a physical scar is affecting the thyroid. We would just have to use AK to test our way through each one of these. If it was a pathogen, for example, we would test for viruses, bacteria, parasites, and fungi. Wherever we found a weak muscle response is where we know we would need to offer further support to the thyroid. A viral pathogen is a very common thing that shows up in testing the thyroid. NRT is a great tool to deal with things on the physical level, and we all need healing on this level. Three things happened when I first learned how to use this for physical health issues. First, my skill with the tool improved over time. I refined it. Anyone can use the tool, but in using it repeatedly, you become a master and learn the power, subtleties, and finesse of it. Anyone can use a paintbrush to draw, but the tool in the hands of Michelangelo is a very different story altogether. The tool is the same for all people, but the way an expert uses it can be much different. Applied kinesiology is much the same. It takes a lot of practice to use it well. Second, about 60 to 70% of the people that I used NRT on had very positive results. However, on some level, some people were taking the best whole food supplements, exercising, getting chiropractic, and eating all the right things, and their problems still didn't seem to improve much. This is when I began exploring and found other levels in the body that NRT as a construct didn't readily detect. The energetic, mental emotional, family emotional, and spiritual levels went beyond the physical level and were not being addressed using NRT. To help heal the whole person, one has to deal with the electrical system, mind, consciousness, and emotions that affect the body. What is held in mind manifests in the physical body. The symptoms you experience physically are the way for you to know that something may be originating in the mind first. An ancient Ayurvedic saying tells us, if you want to know the condition of your mind in the past, examine your body now. If you want to know what your body will look like in the future, examine your mind now. This was when I began to explore other energy modalities such as NAET, psychokinesiology, the emotion code, and body talk. All of these modalities use AK as the tool to discover issues in these levels of the body and work to correct them. These constructs explore the contents of the subconscious and have a direct effect on the mind. Healing the mind is the most important aspect of helping someone heal. Third, after pushing on people's arms innumerable times, I began to sense and feel the energy of responses a split second before applying the test. This was startling at first, and I didn't know that it was possible or even what I was really experiencing. However, it continued to happen to me, and one day after months of being able to sense this intuitively, I decided to do all the testing this way and see what happened. What I discovered was that when our intention is focused on the substance, thought, emotion, statement, or question, the energy response that I would feel in the muscle was something I started to sense intuitively within my own body. This took about 6 months for me to discover on my own. I had not discovered Dr. Hawkins' works yet, but he explained that this happens because, from a physics standpoint, the response is happening or occurring in the tester first. After discovering this, I was reading a book by Dr. John Veltheim that discusses this phenomena. You can tune into someone's innate wisdom, and with more practice and a couple of weeks' time, the physical test is no longer needed. Weeks? It took me 6 months to realize this on my own, and I didn't know what was happening. I later discovered that other kinesiologists report having the same experience. You can make a statement such as, the weakest part of this person's body is their liver, and you feel the energetic response either yes or not yes from within yourself. You begin to sense energy, vibration, or truth of the answer to the question. This was key for me in further developing the use of my right brain, which has been called the intuitive brain. Donna Eden, in her wonderful book, Energy Medicine, talks about this same experience. Quote, being energy tested, muscle tested, reinforces the link between your brain and subtle energies in your body, establishing new levels of internal communication. New areas of self-awareness begin to unfold. Many people find they intuitively know what the result of an energy test will be before they apply pressure to the other person's arm. It's not like guessing before the test, but rather launching a communication in which your awareness is working in tandem with subtle energies. End quote. Dr. Cam Ewan also mentions this about muscle testing in his book, Instant Pain Elimination, that as you practice these physical confirmation tests, you are tuning into how it feels to be strong and weak. Essentially, there are only two distinct feelings. Practice trains you to differentiate between them. Once you become confident in knowing the difference between strong and weak mentally or intuitively, you no longer need to use the arm or finger-thumb confirmation. Your mind will quickly pinpoint what will weaken and what will stay strong. Dr. John Thea observed the same thing, saying, after some experience, we begin to get a deeper sense of whether or not energy is flowing. We may also be able to feel what's happening with our energy before we test the muscle. Some people will feel subtleties even if the muscle seems strong and locked into place. Dr. Bradley Nelson, author of The Emotion Code, also mentions the same thing. If you use the emotion code for very long, you may begin to notice an odd phenomenon. A split second before you get an answer through muscle testing, the answer may suddenly appear in your mind like a quiet little voice whispering to you. At first, it might be so quiet that you might overlook it. This intuitive knowledge flows into you from the universal database of consciousness, from the sea of intelligence and energy that surrounds us all. Muscle testing is like training wheels for your intuition. We live in a left brain dominated world, and none of us have been deliberately trained how to use our intention or right brain like we have our left brain. In fact, when you look at people like Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla, often the greatest discoveries they had came with the use of their intuition or access to more of their right brain. Information appeared in a flash that didn't make sense, but they had the guts to go with it. This intuition led to some of the greatest discoveries in the world. In practice, some of the craziest, most confounding, and seemingly illogical things are discovered by asking questions about why people have the problems they have. Much of the time, it doesn't seem to make logical left brain sense. But being able to feel the yes, not yes answer for any statement or question and being receptive to the answers opens the door to the subconscious of each person. Using the left brain, an NRT structure, together with our right brain, intuition, can bring understanding to health problems in amazing ways and help people to heal. In spiritual terms, I once heard a charismatic pastor speak about the use of the miraculous biblical gift of knowledge spoken about in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 in the Bible. He said that the gift of knowledge functions in one of two ways, like a radio tuner or a cell phone. Tuning in is when you are searching for information and you have to go looking for it, much like turning the dial on a radio in order to tune into the station that you want. At other times, it's like picking up a cell phone and information just drops into the brain directly. Using AK intuitively is the same as this gift of knowledge. We use the gift in the same way the Bible advocates, to help and love people so that they can grow and be healthy. As you begin to let go and allow divine love to flow through you, your intuitive ability rises exponentially. Your capacity to draw on your own innate mental clarity will determine the clarity of feedback you receive from the client's body. To put this in another way, the communication you receive from the innate wisdom of the body will be a direct reflection of your own innate mental clarity. This mirroring dynamic always takes place in some way or another between client and practitioner. Dr. John Veltheim. Knowing the right questions to ask is half the battle. For the average person, if they ask if the liver was the most damaged organ in the body and the response was yes, what would they do with that information? This is where left brain learning and knowing come into play. Having a map or an energy construct that facilitates what to do with the information discovered is key in knowing what to do with the information you get. Each modality, such as NRT, body talk, or psychokinesiology, provides the left brain structure or map. Using AK intuitively to navigate through this information is using the right brain. For example, having a list of things that can affect the liver, including foods, vitamins, liquids, toxins, anatomy, and physiological functions, and much more would be helpful in pinpointing what is affecting the liver. You could use a left brain knowledge-based structure combined with intuitive right brain applied kinesiological and energetic testing sensitivity to navigate through someone's health issue. This is not used for diagnosing a health problem, nor does it take the place of proper Western medical treatment, but is useful in addition to what Western medicine may offer. Intuitive abilities can be used by anyone. Intuition rises the more you let go of the negative emotions that you have inside of you. When you free yourself of them, you cut down on the internal noise, giving you more internal peace and allowing you to become more intuitive. Using your right-brained intuition is amplified when you are able to access a rich left-brained knowledge that you have stored from studying and learning. Responses are clearer and deeper when you have a database of knowledge about liver function and tools to help the liver heal. Innate intuition is the mental clarity experienced when left brain, seemingly rational explanations, are infused by right brain, seemingly irrational, intuitive processes, and vice versa. The concepts of left and right brain serve as imagery for describing two seemingly contradictory, mutually exclusive forms of mental function. Here the term seemingly is key because rational and irrational or intuitive thinking processes never happen in exclusivity of one another. Unfortunately, this is rarely understood, particularly in societies where so-called left brain, logical, rational thought is considered superior to intuitive thinking. Dr. John Veltheim. If you can feel or intuit the vibrational answers of truth when you tune into a body, substance, thought, emotion, question, or statement without the use of pushing on someone's arm, you quickly realize faster ways to extract information and help people. Someone's body, as energy, can be accessed anywhere in the world and is not limited to physical space or location. You can tune in to anyone's body from anywhere in the world at any time. Someone does not need to be present to get the information you need to help them. Sessions can be done at a distance and are done this way by practitioners all over the world. Quantum mechanics has discovered that there are no barriers to energy and that energy can travel faster than the speed of light. While this concept may seem strange, because this is not common societal knowledge, that doesn't mean it isn't true. Arthur Clarke once said, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." Cell phones, airplanes, and electricity would have been considered magic hundreds of years ago. Intuition is a powerful thing, more powerful than intellect in my opinion. That's had a very big impact on my work. I began to realize that an intuitive understanding and consciousness was more significant than abstract thinking and logical intellectual analysis. Steve Jobs. I feel that energy medicine is the medicine of the future, especially when people discover how they can learn and grow by understanding why they are the way they are and the problems that they have. I affirm the words of Dr. Robert Jacobs, naturopathic medical doctor, when he said, "The medicine of the future will be energy medicine, and chemical medicine will be a subset of medicine as a whole. Probably 80% of medicine will be energy medicine and 20% chemical medicine." Dr. Mehmet Oz has also been quoted as saying that the future of medicine is energy medicine. Energy medicine is here, and AK may be its main tool. When you realize the absolute power of the tool, our intuitive abilities as humans, and putting them to good use to help facilitating healing in others, the results can be amazing. Being able to participate in this process is beyond humbling. You realize quickly that the body knows exactly how to heal itself. It just needs to be asked and reminded. The practitioner is not the healer. He or she is just a bridge that connects the unbalanced parts so that the body-mind can self-heal. We all have the ability to be able to tune into the wisdom of each other's body. The information is held within the database of human consciousness, which is an immense field of energy that encompasses everything. Since everything is energy, this information, or energy, can be accessed to help people heal. You can make any statement about anything and feel its energy either in a positive yes response or a negative not yes response. Nikola Tesla, the world's greatest inventor, once said, "If you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. Every question, substance, thought, emotion, and person has energy, frequency, and vibration." And many people are starting to realize that AK is the doorway into feeling this energy within so that we can grow and help others to do the same. Dr. David Hawkins said, "Everything in the universe radiates a specific frequency or minute energy field that remains in the field of consciousness permanently. Thus, every person or being that ever lived and anything about them, including any event, thought, deed, feeling, or attitude, is recorded forever and can be retrieved at any time in the present or the future." Bell's theorem emphasizes that no theory of reality compatible with quantum theory can require spatially separated events to be separate. In other words, all distant events are constantly interconnected and interdependent. This implies that every electron must know exactly what every other electron in the universe is doing to know what it has to do itself at any given moment. This further implies that every atom in the universe is constantly in touch with all that is. Few are born with the ability to intuit this information, but everyone can learn it. AK is important to know because the use of this tool is astounding, not only on a physical level, but also on a mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. Every piece of information, all beliefs and truths can be calibrated and discovered by all. In my personal experience, AK was used to discover the experiences and emotions that were contributing to why I was severely depressed. I would never have guessed that a memory I had when I was 4 years old was the root memory and the emotions in that memory that was driving why I was depressed. With the information I gathered with AK, I was also able to identify the exact emotions that were present in each memory that was contributing to the depression. With this information, I used tapping, which will be discussed in the next chapter, to let go of all the negative emotions. Tapping has had such a profound impact on my healing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.